School of Engineering, UOWMKDU, you see, welcomes Dato Ashhadi. He's the Environmental Sustainable HSE Assurance Senior Manager from Kerry Groups. Alright, our program leaders and our lecturers and students, thank you for your presence this afternoon. Okay, I would like to thank Dato Ashhadi for being here today, although it was a very last minute request. But thank you, Dato, for your passion and your experience sharing session with our students here. I just hope that our students will gain a lot of knowledge on sustainability throughout this guest lecture. And thank you again for agreeing, although it's a fasting month. Okay, without further delay, I will pass the stage to Dato Ashhadi.
The honor that UOWMKDU has invited me to do this, I can say, sharing session, more than a sharing session than lecture. So you guys feel free to ask me. You can always stop me whenever you have doubts, you have questions, and it can be anything related to sustainability. I'll be happy to answer. All right. Let me just start introduce myself. All right. And okay, so I have about 28 to 29 years of experience in industry, in manufacturing industry. I was trained by Nestle Malaysia. And then I was working for Nestle from training management until become a manager. And then I joined, I want to expand my knowledge. I joined a plantation company. And for a few years, then I have friends in Kerry that invited me to join Kerry. So with all this experience from my career, I think I can share with you today about engineering and sustainability. Right? Among other competencies that I have is other than the lead auditor, I'm also a certified risk engineer by Zurich Global. Zurich Global, I think you know Zurich Insurance. It's the biggest global insurance company. So I'm a certified risk engineer, and I got it when I worked in Nestle. All right. So other than sustainability, I can also share with you something about risk engineering and also operational risk. All right. Okay. So other than that, I'm a member of FMM, the Federation of Nation Manufacturers, and I am part of the committee that started the Sustainability Development Committee in FMM. It's to some of you, maybe you're not Malaysian here, but FMM is a group of manufacturers, whether Malaysian or international. We have our committee to discuss and to collaborate closely with Malaysian government. So that is more of collaboration and a win-win situation for both. For us as a corporate citizen, but also as for Malaysia as a country. Okay. So any question? You can always stop me, no problem. Okay, just for today, for the first thing that I want to share is about United Nations Sustainability Development Guide, and then I'll talk about a little bit of Paris Agreement, COP26, and then talking about climate change and engineering, and then the last one is the good stories about career opportunities, right? Okay, so I think the first slide here, this is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Anybody familiar with this? Okay, good. So when we talk about sustainability, right? When we talk about sustainability, actually it revolves around these 17 elements, right? In our operation, in our day-to-day, I'm not talking only about manufacturing, but I'm talking also about banking. I'm also talking about services, services companies. So when we talk about sustainability, these are the 17 elements, right? Maybe like in manufacturing industry, some of these elements may not be so visible, may not be impacted, but these are the 17 sustainable development goals. So, okay, if later in your career after you graduated, if you are joining a company, it depends on the activity of that company, the business. Okay, some businesses does not really impacted in terms of let's say life on land. Let's say for example. So some business maybe they do only underwater business. So these are the development goals as a guide, and this is approved or agreed by all countries in the world. And if when you go outside after your graduation, when you join a company, so any company can say that I can participate, or this is my participation in terms of sustainability, right? I cannot participate in all 17, right? I can participate in 4, right? Okay, let's say just a quick one. I'm not sure whether this covered in which already covered, right? Okay, good. So when we talk about engineering and sustainability, majority of it engineering involved, whether it is small or whether it is significant, right? Okay, so later we can go in detail, but I think another point in terms of sustainability is that sustainability becomes very, very significant in the world after year 2000. So before that, the awareness in terms of sustainability, in terms of climate change, in terms of global warming, maybe very, very little. But I think today, if I ask you, let me just ask you, today, why, even in Malaysia, why the weather has changed, right? Anybody has an answer? Why the last 2 years in Malaysia we have the heaviest rainfall in history? Why the last 2 years we have a lot of landslides in Malaysia? I mean, this is just a general answer. Any takers? Why is that? Yes, sir. Hang on, can you share your name?
Munir.
Hi, Munir. Okay, good. What's your
Carbon footprint.
carbon footprint? Yes, that is one factor. Any other factor? Why not only in Malaysia? You can see even now in the region of Arabs. I think 20 years ago nobody hear about any snow in the Arab region. But like the last winter, they had a good snow in Arab region in Jeddah, slightly north of Jeddah. They have. So this is a really proven fact that global warming is real. So that's why the last since year 2000, this global warming topic is becoming more and more clearer, more and more visible. I think last 2 years, Greta, the girl, the global warming ambassador, and she made a good speech at the United Nations, right? So this is how we evolve in terms of sustainability. And as an engineering student, you can you can contribute a lot for sustainability. Okay, so this is just a recap. If you guys have gone through this, okay, talking about United Nations. So this is the latest United Nations Conference of Parties COP26, right? So even we have agreed. Every country in the world has agreed we must do something about global warming, right? Even I also share our Malaysian minister giving a speech that even Malaysia we commit to do something about global warming, right? Okay, so even way back in 2016, Paris Climate Agreement was one of the earlier conference that really want to push this sustainability agenda, global warming agenda, and I think like today, all country, all leaders, all corporate international companies, they agree that sustainability is the agenda for today. And sustainability is a means of doing business, right? It's not just to show that okay, I'm doing something in sustainability, but in the long run, sustainability determines your future business, right? Okay, so and then the science-based target. Anybody know science-based target? Anybody covers that in your? Okay, science-based targets is a non-profit international government that collect data from countries, from companies, and we want to ensure globally that we coordinate in terms of our program, our plan to reduce the global warming, right? So that's why we call it science-based target. Is because, like for example, a company say that I want to reduce my carbon footprint by 15%, but your company carbon footprint may be very little compared to the global carbon footprint. So this science-based target is an international community, and they can work with anybody or any country, any company that you guys like sharing your data, and then they can tell you, okay, you as a company or you as a country, you need to reduce the carbon by 30%, right, for the next 5 years. Then, if everybody do their part, then we can, as globally, we can reduce the temperature of the world to be more than 1.5 degrees, right? I think you also aware, or you have also read articles on the medias that for the past 10 years, our global temperature has risen, right? Has risen. So science-based target is a community to help country, community, or company. Like my company, we sign with science-based target to ensure that our company targets, our company performance targets are impacting the global, and it's we call it aligned to the global reduction. You know, like for me, I can work with company A, and company A says, okay, I'm going to do my part. I reduce my carbon footprint by 5%. But actually, 5% compared to the global carbon footprint is nothing. So the science-based target community, we can advise, okay, look, you, company A, you need to reduce 40%. Then you can see the impact to the global temperature. So that's what science-based target. You can always search into the online library or online information, right? Okay, so any question? But I think the point here is that, right, today, maybe 20 years ago, maybe people do not take this sustainability agenda as serious as now. So now, I don't know, I think University of Wollongong started the sustainability department probably a few years back, right? So, so that's how the real change that we can see around us. And now we have sustainability courses, sustainability. So that's how for the last like 15 years, around the world, all countries are taking sustainability as a priority agenda. Okay. Okay. Any question on this one? World reaction on climate change, global warming. All right. Okay. Then we go to the next one. Okay. I think this one you guys know. When we talk about sustainable engineering, it's a process of designing, operating systems such that they use energy and resources sustainably. What does it mean by sustainably? Anybody can comment or can chip in? What does it mean by sustainability? Sustainably, sorry. Any? Yeah.
It's a development. It's a development that meet the future need without compromise the future generation to meet their own needs.
Yes, that's correct. And also in terms of easier words or layman terms, it's like we need to survive. We need to survive. Whatever we do, whether it is in engineering, it is in economy, it is in we need to survive. And to survive, we have to ensure that the world around us must be better, not getting worse day by day. So when we talk about sustainability, we're talking about forever. Yeah. So. Okay, sorry. All right, any question in terms of sustainability engineering or sustainable engineering? Okay, now we talk about engineering in sustainability, right? Can I take out the no? Right. So now much clearer, right? Okay, so when we talk about climate change or environment-friendly design from day one. Okay, I heard from Dr. Nisa, you are from mechanical, some of you are from electrical, some of you from mechatronic. Okay, so whenever you have a chance, let's say after you graduate, you design a system, right? So what you must have on top of your mind when you design, you must think of renewable energy. Where does your system get the energy, right? Or where does what type of energy that your system you want to design? Is it we call it clean energy, or is it from still using a brown energy? And I think you know, right? Brown energy and clean energy or green energy. So whatever you do, whether it's the design or it's a simple add-on to the current system, you must always have that in mind. Design from the first, or we can call it from the white paper. From the white paper, you must have that sustainability engineering in your mind. And let's say when you go out to the industry, you join a company and everything is already there, right? The system are there, the we call it what, electrical power generation is already there. So how do you contribute? What can you contribute? Right? So how can you contribute is about, can you convert the non-efficient energy system to a better system? So that's how we can contribute as an engineer, as an engineering fraternity. Like myself, I just share my experience when I was a young engineer like you guys. I just joined. I just graduated and I joined Nestle Malaysia. I was involved in a project. So that project, one of the design is that I need to design ketchup, the soy sauce ketchup manufacturing, right? And let me tell you, my background is automation engineering, so I do PLC programming. So in that programming, we can design whether the cleaning of the system longer or shorter, right? So you as an engineering graduate, so if you have a sustainability in your mind, you can reduce your cleaning time, right? How does it affect when you reduce your cleaning time? If you reduce your cleaning time, you use less water, right? And then you use less energy, right? And then at the same time, you can prolong your production time. So that's how we can improve. We can contribute in terms of engineering sustainability, right? And let's say my experience is that I went to a factory, and the factory, they have the old electric motors. And the old electric motors, they use the old conventional starting system. And if you are aware, when you run electric motors, there is a starting system, right? Whether it's the current you apply directly, or the current go through some kind of inverter, or we call it, or even the power correction system, right? So when I joined, they were all motors. So my function is that I need to upgrade the system to be more efficient. So that's how we can contribute. If you join a company or a system who has already a system there, right? You don't have an opportunity to redesign the whole system, right? But you can still contribute in terms of engineering in sustainability. Okay. What does it do if you reduce the energy? Anybody? What does it mean in terms of carbon footprint? If you reduce the energy that you use in your operation, what does that mean? Yeah.
Reduce your waste.
Yes, reduce the waste. How about carbon footprint? Yeah, so you reduce the carbon footprint also, right? Because later I touch about the performance indicator, right? When you reduce your energy, you reduce the electricity usage, right? Let's say you use the system for 1 hour, now you only use the system for 30 minutes. So that 30 minutes, the electricity power generation already producing carbon, right? So if we reduce that time, you already reduce like 50% of the energy usage. You reduce 50% of your carbon emission, right? Okay, so this is more of a basic approach if you as an engineering graduate into the industry, right? If you have a chance to do or to design a new system, then by all means you have to start with that sustainability mindset, right? Okay, good. Yeah, so the third one is renewable energy push. I think somebody is taking a renewable energy courses, right? Here? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, anyway, like from today, we need to push this renewable energy practices, renewable energy usage. And it has to start from ourselves, okay? Like, can I ask, can I ask, how many of you has a solar light at home? Solar powered light at home? Anybody? Because now we are talking, every day we're talking sustainability, renewable energy, but we did not attempt, to have at least 1 unit of solar powered light. Okay? Like myself, my house, I have 4 solar powered lights, and it powers my perimeter, my fencing, my house fencing. So it's very, very efficient, it's very cheap. You can buy online, in fact. So my lights is, I got the 200 watt, and another 2, the smaller one, 50 watt. So it's like sometimes we just need to start. So I think if we are talking about sustainability every day, we need to show that we walk the talk. Like myself, I'm preaching sustainability. Of course, I have to do it. And with my own experience, right now, previously we used a spotlight powered by, of course, our own electricity. Now I use all solar light for all my perimeter, and it's like out of your mind. It runs by itself. It is clean energy, and it's really reducing your monthly bill. Okay, so that is in terms of our daily life. But in terms of if you are as a graduate, you need to have that mindset. You need to push the renewable energy. Like for Malaysia, for your information, Malaysia is pushing every year the capacity of power supply from solar panel station. So every year Malaysia is improving, is adding to the current electricity supply grid. So that's how we show our commitment, our engagement in sustainability. Okay, so renewable energy is a must. We need to push, right? Okay. Then the next one, key performance indicator for climate change in industry. Okay. Let me start with industry, but also later on, why I want to share this. Because even today all Malaysian companies who are public listed, they must produce the annual report. You can say at the bottom there, annual report on sustainability. So, be it if you are a fashion designing company, or you are a food manufacturing company, or you are an oil and gas company, if you are listed in public in Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange, you must have this annual sustainability report. And what are the elements inside the annual sustainability report? Right? And the annual sustainability report, we can put everything, all activities, all our program and plans, anything related to, remember the first one, the first slide just now, which is the 17th element of the Sustainable Development Guide. But for manufacturing industry, these like carbon, energy, this really will show the company performance in terms of carbon footprint, right? So as a company or as an organization, you must have a performance indicator. You must have a target, right? So like this year, company B, company C, how much we want to reduce the carbon, right? Is it 5%, 10%, 15%? So that we have to publish, and that is something that we can work on for the whole year. And we can set the key performance indicator as a monthly follow-up. But now let's look at in terms of water, general waste, and food waste. Actually, why we need to monitor our water consumption? Anybody can guess the answer? Why we need to monitor our water consumption in industry or in major corporation? Why we need to monitor our water usage, water consumption? Anybody? Okay. So this is a general answer. You can go back and find through the electrical information. We have to, especially the industry, we have to make sure reduce our water consumption. Why? Because a clean water supply is globally, the clean water supply or fresh water supply is in a risk, and for world, we have a water organization that monitor this, and we have abundance of seawater, we have abundance of wastewater, but fresh water, we have to be careful. That's why for the water organization, we have this index to monitor which area in the world which is under we call it stress water areas, right? So those stress water areas, like maybe Malaysia is not, okay, because we have a good heavy rainfall, but we have a high risk water stress areas like those in the desert, those in even in India. So we, as an industry, we need to monitor the water and we have to reduce the water consumption, right? And also general waste and food waste. Why we need to manage the waste? And this is related to engineering because this comes under circular economy, right? If we don't manage our waste, where do the waste go? Right? So where do the waste go? The waste will go to landfill. Is landfill good for us? No, right? Is landfill good for, not for human, but also for the biodiversity? It's not. And like today, some of the states in Malaysia, they want to completely ban all landfill. We don't want any landfill because landfill create unbalance in terms of biodiversity. They have smell, odor pollution, and they also affect the surrounding. So that's why we need to monitor our waste. And we need to reduce our waste. And we, as an engineering graduates, this is our opportunity to come up with a new machine, to come up with a new process or the new system to process this waste and become a raw material for the next process or the next industry. So that is an area that I think is a huge area. Because ultimately, we do not want to have any landfill at all in Malaysia or in the world. Because landfill is definitely not good for the Mother Earth. that's done. Right? Everybody agreed, and we have to do something about it. That's why general waste, food waste must be in our industry's monitoring. Okay, so the next one is increasing recycling and reuse. Like just now I mentioned, let's say we drink Coca-Cola, right? We drink Coke, we drink Pepsi. So what happened to the bottle? To the bottle we throw away. But now, like say in Inshallah, we do have some system that we need to really segregate all this. But all these like bottles, like Coca-Cola bottles, it is an opportunity for us engineering graduate. We can come up with a system that we can crush this bottle and become resin and add on new technologies and become raw material for other industries, right? And not only that, even like plastic or paper, this is an opportunity for us, an engineering graduate. We can we can design a new system. But of course, when you design a system, like we mentioned just now, the sustainability agenda must be on top of our mind, right? Okay, so and then also in terms of engineering, we have to make sure that what we do today, what we design or what we modify, what we improve must be compliance to the local legal requirement. So that's very important. We as an engineer, we have to know the legal requirement, because if we don't know, we might we might waste the time, we might waste the energy, we might waste the money. All right. So as an engineer, and in the old thoughts, people regard engineer as an expert, right? As an expert. So the society expects us to know a lot, to know almost everything, right? We are like the doctor of machines. So everybody expects us to know it. So that's why this is part of sustainability, because if an engineer makes a mistake, the consequences are huge. So this is part of our professional practices, right? Okay. So for annual report, I did mention just now that not only in Malaysia but in other countries, if you are considered as a medium scale to large scale business or large scale industry, you must have the annual report on sustainability. All right. Okay. So these are in terms of engineering. What can we contribute to sustainability? What can we participate? And what are the areas that we as an engineer need to look out for when we perform our duty to the industry or to the society? All right. Any question on this one? Is it clear? I think, like for example, electrical engineer. Electrical engineer, now the biggest power station in Malaysia. What fuel they use? You know, like we have in Malaysia, let me just share. In Malaysia, we have many power stations, and some power stations are hydropower, which is water. Some is coal-fired generator power. And now some is the solar panel power station. So as an electrical engineer, if you talking about sustainability, we need to reduce this dependency. Our dependency on the huge coal-fired generation plant like here in Kappa. And in Kappa, they only use coal. Where does this coal come from? Right? The coal comes from the earth. So, how much can the earth last if we keep on burning the coal? So, eventually, the coal will be used up and no more coal. So, as an electrical engineer, we need to have this agenda that we cannot be too dependent on coal-fired power plant, or we have a diesel-fired power plant. So we need to reduce it. Even now the car, right? The car that we drive now the push in terms of electrical car is huge around the world, because we cannot be dependent on the natural resources. Okay, when I talk about natural resources, it's of course the fuel, the petrol, the natural gas. All this, one day these resources will be depleted. So that's why it's very important in terms of sustainability. Engineers must take part. Okay. In terms of mechanical, you guys learning thermodynamics, so we need to improve the heat system, the heat and cooling system. How can we improve that? How can we make sure that the system use less energy? The system runs more efficiently and can produce the same result. So, and automation or mechatronic guys, mechatronic engineering. If you're working on a machine, like I mentioned just now, you've got to know the PLC programming, or now I don't know the latest logic system. You can improve the system to ensure that the system can run more efficient, use less energy, or even better, use the renewable energy. So that's our part. That's our part to contribute. Okay. So any other question on engineering and climate change? But okay, just sidetrack a bit. You guys know, right? You guys are all on social media. Nowadays, it is very common to hear landslide. Not necessarily in Malaysia. Even like in South America, landslides everywhere. And then we have floods everywhere. So this is the result of climate change. This is the result of the depleting ozone layer, and what is responsible for the depletion? It's the carbon emission. It's the carbon footprint. Okay. So in our daily life, we also must be an ambassador. Even though we are engineer, we are an ambassador to sustainability. So this is how we can contribute. Okay. Any other question before I move on to the next? Okay. So this is towards the last part. Okay, so this is towards the last part. Career in sustainability. Okay, anybody has a LinkedIn account? Morel, you have. Do you notice that every day, there's always be a sustainability vacancy. If you select globally, even in the state, because I also open for global. You can see every day, every single day, there's always sustainability vacancy. It can be a junior position, it can be middle, or it can be even the director. Because now the business, who determines the business, right? I can ask a question. Who determines the business actually? Okay, let's say a consumer product. Who determines the business? It's the one who buy, right? It's the one who buy. The consumer. Okay. So now the consumer, like you guys, you already aware. Your awareness level of sustainability is already high. So you as a consumer, you demand from the producer or the manufacturer, does your product is sustainable or not? Right? So does your product is the process of your product is has or use a lot of energy, or produce a lot of carbon emission. So nowadays, because consumer drive the business, consumer, I think you heard before, right? Customer always right? So the consumer demands, even like my company, even like Nestle. My current company is Kerry. Our customer is McDonald's. Our customer is Starbucks. So they also an international company. So they demand us for the sustainability report. And I am the one who always preparing those documents for them. When Coca-Cola asks, give me your sustainability report, or give me your monthly report on environmental sustainability. So those are coming from my department. So these are the drive that are coming, and because of this drive, so the major corporation, the international company, quickly set up a sustainability department because it's the customer. Customer is always right? Even like like myself, I am the supplier to McDonald's, but I'm also a customer, right? So if I go to McDonald's, I ask McDonald's, do you recycle your plastic cup or not? I did once ask Starbucks asked the manager, do you recycle your plastic cup or not? So sometimes these are nowadays, you guys and myself, we can help. We can help to pressure the supplier, to pressure the manufacturer to participate, to engage in this journey of sustainability. That's why, because of this, all major corporations, even in terms, government, countries in the world, they have no choice. They have to set up the sustainability department. They have to appoint a sustainability vice president, for example. So because of this drive from the customer, so the major corporation in the world now, they must have a sustainability department. So that's why if you are on LinkedIn or even on your job street, you can always, every day, there's always a sustainability vacancy, right? But of course, it depends on the size of company or the size of the corporation, and some of the sustainability function, they group it together with other division. But that sustainability report we must have if we want to survive or if we want to do business forever. So that's why sustainable word comes in, right? Okay, so we're talking about career. I can tell you, if your heart in sustainability is a very bright future ahead, right? Because even Malaysia, we Malaysia as a country, we commit, we want to be net zero by 2030, right? So because of that, there is a automatic pressure to to us as industry, because I'm also part of Federation of Nation Manufacturer. We, as a manufacturer, we need to help our brothers, the small medium industry. And now we have a committee to fast track them, to make them understand what sustainability can bring into the business. Because like I said just now, nowadays the customer, the consumer, they are more aware. They are also have the heart to not to see all these natural disasters, all this, because if we don't do anything today, the scenario like you see the last 2 years, it will happen again, right? So that's why just now we talk about science-based targets. So these are the community who can that help the globally, that we have to everybody, not only myself as an industry person, but everybody, even countries, small countries, big countries, we need to have this agenda. Except Donald Trump, but Donald Trump no more U.S. president, so it's okay. So now we are back on track in terms of climate change. All right. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Now it's an open question, not necessarily about. You guys don't want to ask about this position, how much they earn per year? Yeah.
So I want to ask you about how easy is it like to obtain such positions? Like how many experience do you have to gain before you get involved in these positions as a young engineer?
Okay, good question. Okay, the question is how long does it take, and what kind of experience you need? Let's say to go to be a sustainability director, right? Actually, if you talk about a time, it's about 5 to 10 years. But it depends on how fast you can catch up the knowledge. Because actually sustainability is not very technical. You can more of common sense. You just need, with your engineering background, you have the basic. You just need to read and find the right information from the right party. You can gain that. But as my position, I'm the lead for the Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa. The COO depends on my report. Okay, if my report is wrong, if my data is wrong, then I'm not up to that level. I'm not up to this level. So my level is to ensure data integrity, because, like I mentioned just now, right, the annual sustainability report we must have. So to answer your question, 5 to 10 years, but it's good to have your masters. If you have your masters by 10 years, you can with your knowledge, you can easily apply for sustainability director. But just for this is for general knowledge. Even once you go to industry, it's really not about your credential on paper. It's really about you, whether you have that thing to be a leader. Okay, yeah. Sometimes you can see. I'm not saying that you must have a master's, but masters can help you, right? So, yeah. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Any other question? General question? Yes, sir.
Sir, from your background, I know that you have 27 experience in the food industry, right? So, what are the challenges are you facing during to achieve the sustainability?
Okay. So from my experience, because sustainability only is, like I shared just now, only the last like 10 years, 10 years or 10 or 15 years, there people start talking about sustainability. My biggest challenge is to make my colleague understand how does this sustainability element affect the performance, affect their performance, affect the company's performance. That is a real challenge, even until today. Even until today, I need to, I need to educate like the vice president of sub-region in Middle East. They were saying, Ashhadi, I have zero knowledge on this. You need to teach me. So that is the real challenge. Nothing technical. It is about engaging people. It's about making people understand what is the impact that if we neglect sustainability in our business. So that's the biggest challenge. Because in technical, we are not the forefront of the technology. We are just an applicator. So technical is not an issue for us or for myself. Does that answer your question? Yeah. So that's why this is good. The University of UOWMKDU to have this session. It's also hopefully my lecture today give a different input, give a different perspective from industry in terms of sustainability. And I am telling you now that like today, if like just now we talk about carbon, energy, water, waste, food waste. If the company did not achieve this 5 KPI, I don't have the bonus. So that's in my company. So this performance relate to my paycheck. So that's how serious it is today in terms of sustainability. We're not just talking or we're just presenting nice performance, but it really affects your paycheck. Okay. Any other question? Do we have more time, Dr. Nisha? Any question? Any? Or yeah.
Is there like an organization that manage the food waste? Meaning, like, Kerry, do they like communicate with other sectors to manage the food? Like example for market, there's a lot of daily waste, like for the dairy products. Do they communicate and see how to control the waste?
Okay. Good question. In terms of food waste, currently the communication is within the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers. We are sharing information. Like for Kerry, we manage our food waste, and guess what we do with our food waste? And any guess? And our food waste is not going to landfill. I can guarantee that in Malaysia now, we have 4 plants. I can guarantee that our food waste is not going to landfill. So any guess what we do with our food waste?
Compost, maybe?
Compost?
Yeah.
No. Any guess? Our food waste. Okay. Our food waste we convert to become fertilizer. Okay. So we work with a company who collect all our food waste from all 4 of our factories, and we convert to a fertilizer. And the fertilizer we sell to plantation, the palm oil plantation company. The fertilizer is like a base. So maybe nutrient is not enough, but for a plantation company, they add in more nutrients. So that's belong to them, right? We provide as fertilizer. Okay. So to answer your question, currently majority of big corporations in Malaysia, they're doing their own stuff, but we are sharing through Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers. I did a few talks on our practices, sustainable practices. The last time I did talk in MITEC, the Malaysian Industrial Expo Center, and I presented to the whole industry plus even the small, medium industry. We are sharing with them how we manage our food waste. Right? Okay, any question? Yes.
You mentioned that you're responsible for the report, for the sustainable report, right? So who does your audit? Because you can just mention anything, you can write anything you want, right?
Yeah, very good question. So that's why, as a corporation, we appoint an independent consultant to manage our data, right? To manage our monthly data. From that monthly data, we collected and we produce this online internally. Then I check. So once I say it's okay, or my team have checked, it's okay, then the independent consultant can share with the international body in terms of this data exchange. So that's how we manage our report to be transparent and independent. But from the consultant report, then only we take and then we put in our annual sustainability report. We take the result, we take the end result, but the detail the consultant has. And it's open to any stakeholder. They can request our sustainability report through our appointed independent consultant. And all this actually there is a system, independent system, other than to verify that our data is correct. And every year they will double check. We have 24 sites. 24 sites under our region, and every year they will audit 2 sites every year, and it will go round. Like every 2 years, we have 22, it's about close to 5 years, then it will go back to the first. So this is how we maintain the integrity of the report. Okay, does that answer your question, right? Yeah, we do have our internal data, but it goes to the independent consultant, and the independent consultant can question our data. So that's how we maintain our integrity. Okay, any other question? Even general question also. Yeah.
The last 2 questions are, if you work as an engineer, how important is for us to have a master? Is it a master? Is it a shortcut way to go for management positions or anything? Because they say that if you work as an engineer, it's good that we just have an experience of master. So I need any certification for that. Second is, there's a lot of stereotypes when people say work as an engineer is a scam in terms of their salary. So you have been working as an engineer industry for more than 20 years. So any justification for that?
A scam.
No, as in they say that people say, work as an engineer, they work really hard, but the payment is not that really good. So any answer?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very valid question, right? The first question, your first question just now is about masters. Actually, this paper credential is not a license for you to be rewarded, right? But if you are in a situation where there is a vacancy and the candidates is between the 2 of you, and you have the same performance. So if you are in that situation, the guy who has a master will have a better chance to get the promotion. So that is facts of life. But if without a master's you really perform and you have the thinking and you have the knowledge better than the master student, then you have the better opportunity also. So actually, when you go into the industry, it's about you. It's about you. It's about you. Your paper credential is a supported. But if you really can perform, without your paper credential, you will be rewarded. Based on my experience, I'm working with 2 international companies, and that's how the way it is, right? And for your second question, in terms of the reward, right? Engineers working like crazy, but the salary is not. You say that it's not. What's the word? Okay, it's not what it's supposed to be, right? But from my experience, if you really good at your field, like myself, I have been the expert, automation expert for coffee processing for Nestle. I've been around the world. I've been to Spain. I've been to Switzerland doing projects for automation. Then for engineering, what do you call it? For engineering career path, your highest will be a specialist, and that specialist, your pay or your salary can be equivalent or even more than the leader. If you're really good at your specialties, but if you are an average performer, my advice, if you're an average performer as an engineer, you have to add on your option. You got what I mean, right? If you are an average performer, or among your colleagues, there is one person that will always be the best. Then you have to find other option. Find other option meaning either you work on your paper credential, or you really have to decide where you want to go after this, right? So like myself, like I told you, I was like 23 years in Nestle. If I had not left Nestle, I'll be a mid-senior manager, mid-level manager. But I left Nestle, now I'm a senior manager. So that's it. That's why I said, it's up to you. You have to look at the next 2-3 years where you are. If you think you will not be in that position, then you have to decide. And that's my advice. For me, I'm probably a bit too late to change my course, but it's still worth it. So I hope you understand what I'm saying, because there's not only one good company in the world. There's always a better company out there. So that's my advice. But for me, my experience, I've been working with 3 companies, and those companies are really good for me, good to me, so I'm not complaining. Okay, yeah, so just to give you some ballpark figure, if you are a sustainability director for an international company, you can make around 50,000 ringgit Malaysia, 50,000 to 80,000 ringgit Malaysia, regionally. If for Malaysia only, maybe around that figure. But regionally, you can get more than that, right? But if you are sustainability director for a company globally, of course, this is definitely more than that, twice of that. So I'm talking about this Malaysia or regional. Okay, so Any other question? Last question. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you say about sustainability. So let's say I'm a graduate, an engineer right now, or let's say I started working for a few years. What are the steps that you would advise for us if I want to transition from engineer to sustainability?
Okay, good answer. Okay, just now remember I shared this. Oops. Yeah. Okay, sustainability in terms of manufacturing, you need to know all this. Energy, carbon, renewable energy, you need to know water process, water system, general waste. This is a circular economy, not too difficult. So waste is very logical, easy to, and then you need to really good at compliance to legal requirement. If you have all this, you can apply for a sustainability position. So once you, let's say you join a company, you try to learn all this. These are the basic environmental sustainability KPI. But remember, sustainability, there are 17 elements. So if you want to be fast track, you really need to, other than, this is environment only. So you need to learn about the business, you need to learn about marketing, but basically you need to know your product well, how your product produced, from which raw material, and from how much energy they use, what is the impact to the environment. So that circle, I'm not sure whether you guys have learned about life cycle. Yeah. So life cycle, you need to know your stuff. Life cycle we call it from the farm to fork. I'm talking about the food manufacturers. From the farm, producing whatever the beans or the food, and then come to the fork, become the final product, and is consumed by the consumer. So you need to know the whole chain. The faster you know, the better. Because like myself, if I interview a candidate, we need to see whether he understands the whole value chain, the whole life cycle. Okay? Good. If no other question, thank you for this has been a good knowledge sharing.
You did great, Dato Ashhadi. Okay, thank you so much, Dato, for your valuable and your sharing session. It was really good, and I hope our students here have gained some knowledge, including myself. I like the part where 50,000 to 80,000 salary. I think I need to leave my lecturer in this industry. So it's quite well paid. So thank you so much.